Okay, so maybe this is real?
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
Ooh, what's happening, people? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. Hope you're doing well. Really do hope that Julian Alvarez, we reported earlier today, or reacted to reports, that he could be available to Premier League clubs. I speculated that this could be the perfect opportunity to sign a striker, 24 years old, still young, versatile, and probably the most relevant point here is he is the exact type of striker that Enzo Maresca, our new coach, would want. And of course, Enzo Maresca has worked with Julian Alvarez before the season before last, the treble-winning season for Man City. And he will know all about him and know him as a profile striker. We're going to get into this today, but it is the same guy. It's the Argentinian reporter, I believe he's Argentinian, Gaston Edel, certainly reports on Argentinian football news. He's apparently come out and said Chelsea are the Premier League club looking to sign Julian Alvarez, and he has said Chelsea could make a huge offer for Julian Alvarez this summer. So we're going to speak about that now in this video. I'm going to look at his stats, talk about his wages, talk about would he come to Chelsea. I gotta say, man, this is exciting. He is a sick player. Many of you in the earlier video I uploaded voiced concerns, and we're going to get into those in this video. So strap yourselves in, boys, girls, ladies and gentlemen, because it's going to be interesting. Please do consider subscribing if you like the content. Where should I put? I should put that back there. If you do subscribe, hit the bell. And as always, thank you for liking the video. It's great to have your support here on the channel. I think we're like over 183,000 subscribers now. We're really like, I guess, on the road to 200,000 subscribers. So that is superb news. Thank you so much for supporting the content and subscribing. And yeah, let's just keep it going, man. All right, so yes. Just before we speak about the striker in detail, this guy is called Gaston Edel. I'm trying to look at the Spanish. I don't speak Spanish, but yes, everyone, certainly people across social media, like aggregators of news, are all saying that this guy's reliable. I'm not saying that. I can only react to the news that's out there and what I deem worthy of talking about. And this guy, Gaston Edel, has apparently been quoted saying not only are Chelsea the team that are looking at Julian Alvarez, but we would make a huge offer for him. Very interesting and exciting indeed. Now, there's lots of stuff to consider. First of all, why he would leave. Well, firstly, there's a pretty obvious reason, and it's like a 7-foot Norwegian striker who's a similar age to him in Erling Haaland, who's, of course, very different profile, but sensational. In fact, speaking of profiles, you might look at Julian Alvarez and speculate that that kind of player would make Man City play better as a team. I guess not. Maybe just the sheer volume of goals and finishing quality of Erling Haaland has made him undroppable, but made Julian Alvarez perhaps want to leave. He had a great season last campaign, the one before last, winning the treble, winning the World Cup. Another great season last campaign in terms of starting loads of games, probably not in his preferred position, which is centre forward, and maybe that's why he had just a good season and not a great season in terms of goals and assists, but it was, it was good because he wasn't really given the starts in that position. He got starts, but he was never playing the role of centre forward. That was Erling Haaland. He's a great finisher and a great player. Remember in the World Cup, I think he was starting over a very informal Lautaro Martinez as the first choice striker. He's very close with Enzo Fernandez. They're very matey. They're always posting pictures together. You'd have to say there's a couple of links for him to Chelsea at the moment. And they're both called Enzo. There's Enzo Fernandez, who obviously won the World Cup with him, won the best young player at the World Cup. And there's Enzo Maresca, who he knows, who coached him at his time at Man City. So there's that allure there. We'll talk about the money and stuff in a moment. And of course, the Man City thing of playing behind Erling Haaland, which perhaps is a little bit, you might be a bit disillusioned with his opportunity to play as a striker and score loads of goals. As well, of course, I said in this morning's video, or this afternoon, whenever I uploaded it, there's a lot of noise going around Man City at the moment, and with players like De Bruyne leaving, Edison potentially leaving, there's a lot of that speculate. Well, I'm not saying this is the truth, but I wonder, because of all the lawsuits and stuff, and eventually Guardiola's going to be there one more season probably. I wonder if there's the air of change is in the air, and it's an opportunity to join new projects, especially as a young player. Obviously, I'm speculating to a degree there, but I wonder if that is the scenario. So, Chelsea could make a huge offer for Julian Alvarez. That is the headline. So, look, we've spoken about the Enzos, the double Enzo squared effect of why you might want to join Chelsea, and the fact how, in theory, he suits the project. So, let's voice some concerns first. He's small. He's a small striker, and we know Chelsea have been buying tall players for set pieces, but we've been buying tall defenders. It looks like we want tall people at the back. Not necessarily do we want tall people at the front. Now, it's an interesting alternative to Benjamin Sesko, because you see Sesko jump in the air like I've spoken recently about how he's almost got that Cristiano Ronaldo hang time and get really high and score headers. Now, Julian Alvarez is 5'7". He's a little man. He's diminutive, but if we are going to play Enzo Maresca football, where the guys just keep the ball on the deck, do lots of passing, be nimble, and have to get in between the lines, he'd be perfect for that, of course. Positionally versatile as well. He'd be comfortable occupying different areas in the final third, in the front line, which would be important for possession football when you're trying to move the opposition apart so you can find spaces, create chances, and ultimately score goals. You need to move around, and you perhaps not need big lumps in there. So in that sense, he could be really, really good, but he's probably not going to be jumping in the air to score loads of headers. I haven't checked his header stats, actually. Yeah, I mean, superb. And so there's more stuff to talk about here. His wages. So I thought, Man City player. But then I said in the earlier video today that I can't imagine he's on that much, because he was bought from a South American league. And, after they'd bought Erling Haaland as well. So he was always going to be second choice. Yeah, he's on significant money, but it's not crazy. He's on £100,000 a week. 100k a week. So we could give him a pay rise. Maybe not loads, but we could give him a pay rise and give him a long contract with financial security. Like I said earlier, maybe he'd accept the Moises Caicedo money or the 180k a week. But maybe if we give him a 6+1 contract with that long-term financial security, he'll accept 150k a week. 150k a week, so he'll get a 50% pay rise, which is significant. And especially if, as this new ownership at Chelsea are inclined to do, if they write in sort of bonuses, like, you get top 4, you get an extra X amount a year, you score X amount of goals as a striker, you got a goal bonus, and of course if you win the Premier League, you get this title, you get this bonus as well. So maybe all things considered, that will be financially alluring for him. He gets to remain in the Premier League, play at a high level, play with his bestie Enzo Fernandez, and play under Enzo Maresca, who he probably has a lot of respect for as a coach because they won the treble while he was in the coaching staff. Largely speculative here as well. So let's talk about Man City, right? Okay, so Man City, right? We've got a good relationship with them. We've done plenty of business with them lately. We've, of course, sold them Mateo Kovacic for a reasonable, but good for us, £30 million, because he had 12 months left on his deal in his very late 20s. They'd be happy with that. They've utilised him as well. He's had loads of appearances in a Premier League title-winning season. They'll be happy. Of course, we bought Cole Palmer off them, and they got good money for Cole Palmer in isolation, £40 million for this kid who hadn't played much. But, in hindsight, it was a banging deal for us. But the fact remains that Chelsea will have a very healthy, open dialogue with Manchester City in terms of player trading, and that you feel like should be able to be rekindled in this transfer window that's just upon us. So they'd probably be interested in talking to Chelsea. Of course, if like Saudi Arabia came along and offered them loads of money for Alvarez, they'd take it, but they're probably being realistic in knowing that he's not going to want to sign for the Saudi Arabia, probably. I'm speculating here again, but I imagine he wants to carry on playing at the highest level in the Premier League. He's 24 years old. He's already won the Premier League a couple of times. So I feel like he'll feel like he belongs here, and he can, score more Premier League goals to his record, and that's an opportunity. Of course, I don't want to speak for him, but one can assume. And so they will probably be able to please him enough with a pay rise. The dialogue's already open with Man City, and if he does want to go, if he's saying sell me, I don't want to be behind Erling Haaland anymore. And again, we're speculating to a degree there, but if he says I want to go, please. I've had a couple of good seasons here. I'm settled in England. You're clearly not getting rid of Haaland. He's your guy. I want to go and be the guy somewhere. Please do sell me. Then they're probably like, okay, well, we have to find somewhere. Because Man City sell players, by the way. Whether it's Zinchenko, Gabby Jesus, which is another striker, or indeed Raheem Sterling to us. When a player says, can I go please? They go, right, absolutely. They never stand in their way. So you can imagine that they wouldn't stand in the way of Julian Alvarez here. I mean, you could look at Jesus, Zinchenko, and Raheem Sterling, and ponder the respective successes of the time at Arsenal and Chelsea respectively. You might think none of them has really done because Zinchenko doesn't start for Arsenal. Jesus doesn't start for Arsenal at the moment. It's Havertz in the 9, and Raheem Sterling. We know all about him at Chelsea, so bit of concern. But Julian Alvarez is very young. And he's great, man. He's great. So we're going to spend some time speaking about him. But it looks here, if we are to believe this source, I guess that the money can be done. I guess Man City would be willing to do business with Chelsea. And maybe Alvarez would be willing to come to Chelsea. And currently, as we speak, he's hanging out with Enzo Fernandez on international duty. And I think, despite him being really small and diminutive, I think he is a good striker. So I'm going to look at some of his stats now and speak to you about them. I'm not going to set up as a screen share. I'm just going to sort of narrate it. So he's 24 years old. He doesn't turn 25 until January. It looks like he is short. He's 5'7". He's a right footer and he is a striker. But his heat map is entirely across everywhere. The front three. He's one of the most mobile strikers ever. His strengths are assisting, shooting, and carrying. Of course, his biggest weakness is aerials, as you would imagine. So looking at his stats and trends, I'm just here as I speak to you. His direct goal involvement at Man City is 0.7 goal involvements per game, which is of course an elite return, especially considering he often wasn't playing in the centre forward position. He was playing a little bit withdrawn in the number 10, which is good. He's got a strong shot success ratio, which is positive. And his pass ratio is strong. It's 88%, and for a forward that is strong. Of course, Man City, you'd expect late 80s, early 90s, but when you get further up the pitch there, generally the pass success rate drops off a bit. So looking at a few more trends, in the expected goals, XG, he's in the 92nd percentile, which is strong, again, considering for a year often he's not played in the centre forward spot, and his expected assists are in the 91st percentile as well, which is very, very strong. Yes, so in terms of his profile on X Value, which is a football stats website that uses AI, he is called a chance creator in terms of a striker. They give them sort of sub-genres. He's a chance creator, very strong in non-penalty X goals, very strong in passes into the final thirds. Yes, he's, like I say, he's this kind of player that is, when in confidence and when playing as a striker, a very, very good finisher. He's got very comfortable going everywhere. And he's been very, very trusted by Pep Guardiola. Now, if there's a deal to be done here, I would be very interested in doing this. Of course, he's very different to Benjamin Sesko, but a lot of people would prefer the likes of Julian Alvarez because he is Premier League proven. We've watched him, and we've said, right, he's great. I remember in the first season, I was just laughing, how the second choice Man City striker, who's still really young, starts for like every other Premier League team. Do you know what I mean? Like that's who we're dealing with here. And really, in theory, like, we won't be relying on just a striker to score goals under Enzo Maresca. It will be loads of passing patterns and opportunities for people to finish combinations. Whether that, again, I've speculated that Raheem Sterling might shine a bit again, but we'll see. But certainly, lots of players will be tasked to finish off chances. And if you've got a striker that can only finish off chances, that can get assists, that can move around, that can drag defenders out of play really well, it might be really, really good. And look, if you feel like you want a big man in there, you want someone who can win, aerial duels or score headers, yeah, Benjamin Sesko might be the guy. He's done well for Leipzig last season. But if you want a striker who's going to move around well, combine well, score goals in the Premier League, assist goals in the Premier League, and understand how to play this particular type of football well, could be Julian Alvarez. Now, if I could choose personally, I probably would go for Alvarez, provided, a few things. Like, maybe it's not crazy money, obviously, because he will have like 3 years left on his deal. It would have to be a case of Man City. I don't know, it's saying a huge offer could be a thing, but I wouldn't want us to spend like silly money on Alvarez, nor would I want us to spend silly wages. But if we could pay him wages between 150 and 180k a week, so not more than what Moises Caicedo's earning, and if he's a striker as well, and generally strikers get paid more, and 180k would still be, just over half of Romelu Lukaku's initial Chelsea wage. So it would be a monetary thing, if we could do it like that. But I feel like it could be an excellent opportunity. Yeah, man. Massive story. And again, if we are to believe this source, but it looks like everyone's believing it, so we'll see what happens. Let me know what you think. Comment down below. Incredibly exciting if true. I can't wait to read your thoughts. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. See you back here soon. Peace.